My name is Sarah. I'm 34, a teacher in Ohio, living in a small house with my husband Tom and our kids Emma and Jack. Life's been steady, but lately I've felt a weight I can't shake. Teaching is my world. Those bright faces in my classroom keep me going. But now, something big is coming, and I'm scared for my kids, my school, my everything. It started on March 20th, 2025. I was grading papers when the news broke. President Donald Trump signed an executive order to shut down the Department of Education. My hands froze over the stack of tests. Why does Trump want to close it? That question hit me hard, like a stone dropping in my chest. He'd said it before, way back in October 2023, on some video online. I'm closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education back to the states. I remember hearing it then, but it felt far away, like a promise he wouldn't keep. Now, here it was, real as the rain tapping my window. Trump says it's because the department has failed us. He stood in the White House East Room, surrounded by kids at desks, governors clapping behind him, and said, "We spend more money per pupil than any country, by far, and yet we're near the bottom of the list in success." He talked about 70% of 8th graders not reading well, 40% of 4th graders struggling with basics, and even 0 kids in some Baltimore high schools doing simple math. "It's doing us no good," he said, his voice sharp. "We're returning education to the states where it belongs." I wondered, is that true? Are American kids really so far behind places like Norway or China? I've seen my students grow, but those numbers, they sting. But what good will this do for America? That's what I keep asking myself. Trump says it'll save money and cut bureaucracy. He called the department a bloated agency, spending over $3 trillion since 1979 with no real boost to scores. He wants states like Ohio to take charge, says that they'll do better, maybe even cut costs in half while making education many times better. I picture our governor, Mike DeWine, who was there smiling at the signing. Will he really make things brighter for Emma and Jack, or is this just a big gamble with my kids' future? The Department of Education, it's been around since 1979 when President Jimmy Carter built it. Back then, some fought it, even his own people, saying it was too much federal control. It sat under the president, a cabinet agency, watching over student loans, special education, and funds for poor schools like mine. Now, if it's gone, who'll take its place? Trump says those big programs, Pell Grants, Title I, and disability funds will move to other agencies. Treasury might handle loans, maybe Justice takes civil rights. But I sit here wondering, will they care as much? Will they know my kids the way I do? What does this mean for my students? That's the question that keeps me up at night. We've got 50 million kids in public schools, and 7.5 million, like Jack, who's got dyslexia, rely on special education. My school gets Title I money to help kids from tough homes. If the department's gutted, will that money still come? Trump promises uninterrupted delivery, but I saw the news. 1,300 workers got termination notices last week. Half the staff, gone. How many more will lose jobs if this keeps going? Thousands, maybe. And how many kids will feel the shake? Millions, I bet, were left wondering if their books would show up, if their teachers would stay. I talked to Tom about it over dinner. "States will handle it now," he said, cutting his steak. "Ohio's got this." Trump thinks so too. Says places like Texas and Florida will shine, maybe even match Denmark or Sweden. Competition could push them, he claims, to make education better. But I frowned, stirring my soup. What if some states lag? What if we're the laggards? I thought of New York, split into chunks like Manhattan and Suffolk, each fighting to keep up. Will Ohio rise, or will my kids fall through the cracks? Suspense hangs over me like a storm cloud. Is this really about fixing schools or something else? Some say it's budget cuts for tax breaks, like Senator Patty Murray warned, a wrecking ball for billionaires' gain. Teachers' unions are furious, promising lawsuits. "See you in court," they snapped. I wonder, could this be stopped? Congress has to approve a full shutdown, and Democrats are digging in. But Trump's already slashed staff and shrunk the research arm that tracks our kids' progress. What if he wins this fight? Days pass and I'm torn. I love my job, my kids, Emma's bright eyes, Jack's shy grin when he reads a full page. Trump says he'll cherish teachers, that states might reward the great ones. I want to believe him. But I've seen my mother, a retired teacher, shake her head. "The department's not perfect," she said one night, sipping tea, "but it kept things fair. Now, who watches out for the little guys?" Her words echo in me, heavy with doubt. One morning, I found a note in my school mailbox. No name, just words. For the kids, keep fighting. Tucked inside was $50. Not much, but enough to buy Jack a new workbook. My heart raced. Who sent this? Why? It felt like a sign, a whisper of hope. I don't know if states will save us or if America's kids will soar or stumble, but I know I won't stop asking. Why is this happening? What's next? Weeks later, I stood in my classroom watching Emma draw and Jack sound out words. The news still buzzed. Lawsuits filed, governors planning. I took a breath, feeling the weight lift just a little. Maybe this chaos will force us to fight harder, to build something better. I don't have answers yet, but I've got my kids, my school, and a fire in me to keep going. Life broke us once with worry, but maybe, just maybe, we'll find a way through.